My name is Marc Montini, and my company is the Montini & Company Tax Advisory Group. In this short video series, I have asked my retirement clients, my financial planning clients, what their biggest fears were before they retired and what their biggest fears were after they retired. I hope their experiences can help you with your retirement journey. These next questions come from Tom and Jill. Tom and Jill came to me about 3 years before they retired, which is good. That gave us plenty of time to do some more advanced planning for them. And so here's our questions. Number one, how much money do I need to retire? Well, it's not necessarily a question of how much assets do you need in retirement. It's really a question of how much monthly income do you need. If you need $3,000 a month, most of that can be picked up by Social Security. So you don't need a lot of assets to generate the additional supplemental income that you need. Now, if you are living on $8,000 a month, okay, now that's going to lead to a need for greater assets in order to support that supplemental income. So it's really a question of how much monthly income do you need. Now, if you don't know the answer to that question, don't worry, I can get you there. I've got a very easy to use expense organizer that will list out every expense that you're going to have in retirement, and you simply plug your numbers in. At the end, we can know exactly how much monthly income you're going to need. How do I reduce my future tax burden on my pre-retirement income? Well, the challenge of pre-retirement income is typically that these are qualified plans, okay? This is money that you have accumulated through your 401k or your 403b or your federal thrift savings plan if you're a federal employee, or your just general IRA. Now, the nice thing about these plans is that they grow tax deferred, meaning you don't have to pay any tax on anything until you start taking distributions. So reducing the future burden with those funds, one of the tools that we use is a Roth conversion. Now, Roth IRA is a non-deductible tax-free IRA where you're basically paying your taxes up front in order to get the growth and distributions out tax-free. Now, you can fund a Roth through either a contribution, which limits you to $7,000 a year, or you can fund it through a conversion. Now, conversion is where we're going to systematically convert your traditional IRA into the Roth IRA. Now, this may not be the right call for everybody, so we do go through quite an extensive process. I work in conjunction with my CPA to figure out, okay, if we're going to be paying taxes now, how much are we going to convert so that we can get that future supplemental income out tax-free? Understanding the tax ramifications of the Roth conversion, though, is really important. We may not want to convert too much right before you retire because that could adversely affect how much premium you pay on your Medicare. So I can only give a general answer, but this is absolutely something that we're always going to take into consideration and look and see, does a Roth conversion make sense for you at this point? But by doing that, that can reduce that tax burden that you're going to have in retirement. Should I wait until full retirement to claim Social Security? Again, everybody's got their own circumstances. Generally, for me, when somebody retires is when I'm going to recommend they take their Social Security. That could be as early as age 62. If they're going to retire at that age, I would most likely recommend that they take their Social Security at that point because their retirement income is going to need to come from somewhere. And when we've got this guaranteed income looking at us in the face, sometimes I would rather see them take that versus pushing off their Social Security. Now, there's a lot of other things we take into consideration. That particular person may have assets to support that income need, so it may make sense to delay that Social Security. And the reason I would do that is for if something were to happen to you, there's always going to be, if somebody passes away, there's always loss of income, strictly speaking, from Social Security, because the surviving spouse is going to get the greater of the two amounts. So sometimes it makes sense to delay that Social Security, to get that biggest payment possible. So in the event of something were to happen, that the surviving spouse can get that income. I currently have retirement investments through IRAs and a 401k. Now that I'm retired, can I just leave them with my employer to manage? I think the key of that question is to manage. I have a love-hate relationship with 401ks. I love them because they help facilitate savings so well. But my big problem with 401ks is that often we don't get management. Okay, there may be some plans out there that offer some level of advice, but generally speaking, we don't have somebody that's watching that money and adjusting what those investments are based on what the economy dictates we should be invested in. So for the most part, depending on the age of the individual, if there's a 401k involved, most of the time I would like to see that money get into an IRA where we may have more investment assets that we can invest in. We could put it into a CD, you can buy an annuity, you can buy individual stocks. Some plans offer that, but for the most part, moving it into an IRA gives us more investment options. What is the biggest financial risk in retirement that I need to plan for and be ready if and when it comes? Now, these next questions here that Tom and Jill ask are pretty much hypothetical, because I can tell you this, that Tom and Jill are retired just recently, and they are loving it. They're having, they're really enjoying their retirement. They are very active, and they're having a great time in retirement. So I love to see that. But the biggest risk that people have in retirement, typically, if we're speaking financially, it may be just simply taking too much risk and not having somebody watching those assets and not having somebody adjusting the holdings in those assets to reflect what's going on in the economy. We always know there's going to be volatility. 2 years ago, it was a global pandemic. This year, it's inflation. 2 years from now, it could be a natural disaster or a war. But there's always going to be something that is going to harm or reduce the assets that we have. So generally, when it comes to building an overall plan for somebody, I want to reduce risk in layers. Okay, the first layer is going to have dollars that have zero market risk. The next layer, we're going to try to limit risk to be no greater than 10%. The next layer, we may take a more aggressive stance. So one of the benefits of working with a fiduciary like myself, an investment advisor representative, is that I have access to multiple portfolio managers. And so I can bring a layer of diversification to the mix that some financial advisors may not be able to include. So not only will I diversify by asset, but I'm going to also diversify by portfolio management. Because frankly, these guys don't kill it all the time, right? So what I found is that this year, this one does great, this one does okay. Well, then the economy shifts. Now this one does great, and this one does okay. So by diversifying not only by asset, but by portfolio management, we may be able to reduce some of the overall risk that you would have in your retirement. What about life insurance in retirement? I really like life insurance, but life insurance can be a little expensive for people in retirement. For my younger clients, I love it. Life insurance can be a nice asset, right? It can be safe. It can be guaranteed. It can still give us some level of growth, but the distributions that come out of life insurance, the income that we could pull from it, is tax-free. So life insurance as a tool can be good, but if you're approaching retirement, it may be too expensive. Now, when I do utilize life insurance, typically it's for the children of my clients, right? So my clients are either baby boomers or they're millennials, because I'm dealing with their children. And so, but for younger people, life insurance may be a good option, because We have time to let that money grow. When those distributions come out, again, the tax benefit is pretty strong because that life insurance income can come out tax-free. Again, this is a hypothetical question that he's put out here because, I can assure you that Tom and Jill are having a great retirement. I'm a long way from retirement, both age-wise and savings-wise. How can I plan for retirement but still allow me the funds I need to support my current lifestyle? When we have time to plan, there's things that we can do, right? If we're just going to retire in a month and we're meeting each other for the first time, I won't be able to do as much planning as I could for somebody that maybe's been with me for 3 years or 5 years. Given time, we can build a much better plan. With that, thank you very much.